Right, this is Expose 2. That will take us through to the end of the show. It's in two parts. Now, there is much religiosity contained within this script that can distort some of the narrative to regular THI listeners, and I will chime in and correct some portions of it and also add deeper knowledge. If Michelle will get ready, quite a bit. Post picture 1, please. And this is called Long Lost Nikola Tesla Drawings Reveal Genius Map for Multiplication. I'll put my teeth back in. A recently discovered set of original Nikola Tesla drawings reveal a map to multiplication that contains all numbers in a simple-to-use system. Yes, we're going to do numbers again. But it's not just numbers. The drawings were discovered at an antique shop in central Phoenix, Arizona by local artist Abe Zucker, and they are believed to have been created during the last years of Tesla's free energy lab, Wardenclyffe. Now, the manuscript is thought to contain many solutions to unanswered questions about mathematics, and the sketches were hidden in a small trunk with numerous other drawings and manuscripts ranging from handheld technological devices to free energy systems, many with notes scrawled all over them. Now, some of the pieces are already familiar to the public, but there are a few others that are not. And most notably is the map to multiplication, or the math spiral. Now, Zucker made a few copies and showed the drawings around to different thinkers, dreamers, and mathematicians. And a few days later, a local high school mathematics instructor, Joey Grether, had been working on deciphering the system and had a few breakthroughs. Now, Grether suggests that the spiral not only explores multiplication as an interwoven web, but that it offers a comprehensive visual understanding of how all numbers are self-organized into 12 positions of composability. And this device allows us to see numbers as patterns, the formation of prime numbers, twin primes, highly composite numbers, multiplication and division, as well as a few other systems I imagine that are yet to be discovered. Now, the diagram itself is very intuitive, allowing students to see how numbers all work together based on a spiral with 12 positions, or times 12, or multiples of 12 is the most highly composite system, which is why we have 12 months in a year, 12 inches in a foot, 24 hours in a day, and 12 can be divided by 2, 3, 4, and 6, so can all multiples of 12. For every 12 numbers, there is a chance of 4 numbers being prime. And they all happen to fall in positions. Think clock positions, 5, 7, 11, and 1, which makes it a square. Now, Tesla is known for the quote, "If only you knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, then you would have the key to the universe." And it turns out that when the device is examined, the digital roots of the numbers in positions 3, 6, 9, and 12 constantly repeat the same sequence, 3, 6, and 9. And the question was, is this what Tesla was referring to? The self-organization of numbers and their digital roots? Well, it's hard to say, but Grether seems to think so. In reality, it is, in my opinion, seeing numbers in patterns, not figures per se, allows you more scope and vision of them. and in essence it's an overview mathematics. It applies the same way. And if we could get students all over the world to use this technique, to play with it and help figure out how to use it, we could overcome our cultural aversion to mathematics. Instead of memorizing the multiplication table, we could learn the positions of numbers and then have a better understanding of how they work. Now, Juan Zapata, who is one of Mr. Grether's students, believes so as well. And he used to say that he was bad at math because that's what everyone says. But now I'm like, dude, this is so easy. And it is, once you see the pattern. It always repeats. But there's one other fact about the Tesla spiral that make it interesting. The diagram is dated 12/12/12, 1912. And Grether and his students wanted to turn December 12th into a national holiday. So you've seen, or hopefully being posted, picture 1. That will give you an understanding. The next portion is the 10 emanations of God. And this is how the report was stated. With the 0 being regarded as heaven and the all or nothing, this now leaves us with 9 numbers within our base 10 system, 1 through 9. These 9 gods were celebrated by the Greeks and Egyptians in the Ennead. The Ennead was 9 gods that represented the archetypal principles that regulated and ruled the cosmos through the laws of number. We covered this earlier. They were the gods of the 9 differing realms. And this company of 9 has shown its face many times throughout the world. In Norse mythology, the god Odin hung on the Yggdrasil tree for 9 days. Benjamin Franklin was Grand Master of the charitable 9 Sisters Lodge. In the European Middle Ages, we see the 9 worthies, semi-legendary figures who personified the ideas of chivalry. We have all heard of Cloud 9, which is Realm 9, being dressed to the 9s, the 9 lives of a spy, and a stitch in time saves 9. Now the Christians mythologized the power of these 9 numbers in the Christian angelic hierarchy, with those angels being 9, the seraphim, 8, the cherubim, 7, thrones, game of, 6, dominions, 5, virtues, 4, powers, 3, principalities, 2, archangels, or archon-angels, the correct term, and 1, angels. Even the ancient Mayan venerated the principles of 9. And one of the most well-known Mayan pyramids is the pyramid at Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza is a 9-level pyramid with a celestial observatory at the top. And for a few moments on the solstices and equinoxes, the light and shadows on this pyramid forms a snake that travels down the side of the pyramid to the base, where the head of the great snake called Quetzalcoatl or Kukulkan is carved into stone. The Hebrew letter Teth, described as T, meant serpent, or the secret intelligence of all spiritual activities, and was designated by the number 9. Now, just because there's an awful lot of dark forces involved in that, just because the dark forces took up the power of 9 does not mean it is corrupted. Just like the original Illuminati, the illuminated ones, They were not dark forces. They attacked the Roman Church on the inside due to the corruption, fraud and other maladies going on there, backed by the Protestants, who are not a religion. Now, the number 9 shows up quite often in the metrology of our universal architecture as well. The diameters of the Moon, Sun and Earth using decimal parity all reduce down to this number of spirit. The Moon, 2,160 miles, 2 plus 1 plus 6 equals 9. The Sun, 864,000 miles, 8 plus 6 plus 4 equals 18, 1 plus 8 equals 9. Earth, 7,920 miles, 7 plus 9 plus 2 equals 18, 1.1 plus 8 equals 9. Moon, Sun and Earth all equal 9. I ask Michelle to post number 2, please. This next section, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, and these 10 principles united represent completion, except the 0 doesn't. The perfection of all being and the harmony that exists within the demiurgic word of the Creator, once again apparent on the 2 hands that lay right before you. These 10 principles, it is said, are the living thoughts of a great creator being, a great mystery or grand architect who is within all things and without which all things would cease to exist. The ancient Vedic peoples, responsible for the oldest of the Hindu scriptures, reiterated the supremacy of this base 10 system by placing 9 numbers around a circle or a 0 and performing their math in this way. By placing the 9 at the top and moving clockwise around the circle, these 9 digits encased the whole holy 0, with the 0 performing its magic as the placeholder for the rest of the digits, as you will see in picture 2. Now 0 is just a placeholder and has no value, which is why the Vedic used the 9-digit system, not 10. But what was interesting in that piece, it said the demiurgic creator. Now, demiurgic can mean a powerful creative force or personality, but the demiurge is seen as the creator of all evil. That's why I said there's elements of religiosity here that distorts the picture. Please post picture 3. Vortex-based mathematics, numerically conceptualizing reality. In other words, what it's saying is new numbers create reality. And they say the mathematical fingerprint of God is the number 9. There is more to numbers than the mere quantities that we assign them. Numbers are alive, which is why the 0 does not count as an official number. It's just a placeholder only. Numbers, they say, structure our waking reality. All the great mystics and philosophers throughout the ages understood this numeric universe. And it's said, and this is going back an awful long time, remember, it won't be long until we are able to manufacture energy and reshape our world the way nature intended, through implosion rather than explosion. That's cold nuclear fission. The principles of vortex math and the underlying ideologies of this forgotten science are resurfacing. This lost numerical art is a portal to understanding the nature of reality and the psychological implications gained from such introspection are paramount to the evolution of the world soul. Please post picture 4. In vortex math, the science of torus anatomy, if you follow a specific pattern, as in the image 4 just posted, you will have something like this. And these patterns only return 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8. The 3, 6, and 9 are always missing. And as you can see, starting with 1 and doubling it, 1 plus 1 we get 2, again doubling it we got 4. Further doubling, 32. 32 plus 32 we got 64. And summing up, 6 plus 4 gave us 10, which again summing up the 2 digits gave us 1. But 0 has no value. And if you keep following this pattern, it will always give you the digits 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8. Even summing 7 plus 7 gives 14, which further gives 5. 1 plus 4 being 5. But you will notice how 3, 6, and 9 are not in this pattern. And the scientist Marco Rodin, discoverer of vortex maths, believes these numbers represent a vector from the 3rd to 4th dimension, which he calls a flux field. And this field is supposed to be higher dimensional energy that influences the energy circuit of the other 6 points. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. And things then start to get very strange from there. If you take these numbers, 3, 6, and 9, starting with 3 and doubling it, 3 plus 3 equals 6, 6 plus 6 equals 12, 1 plus 2 equals 3, you'll find there's no mention of 9. But every division of 9 equals a 9. 0 point energy is the lowest possible energy that a quantum mechanical system may have. And unlike in classical mechanics, quantum systems constantly fluctuate in their lowest energy state. Quantum systems fluctuate in their lowest energy state. I wonder if that applies to the operator. As described by the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. As well as atoms and molecules, the empty space of the vacuum has these properties, and according to quantum field theory, the universe can be thought of not as isolated particles, but continuous fluctuating fields. Matter fields, whose quanta are fermions, which is leptons and quarks, and force fields, whose quanta are bosons, remember the Higgs bosons, for example, photons and gluons, and all these fields have 0 point energy. Now these fluctuating 0 point fields lead to a kind of reintroduction of an ether in physics, since some systems can detect the existence of this energy. However, this ether cannot be thought of as a physical medium if it is to be Lorentz invariant, such that there is no contradiction. Contradiction of our contradictions. with Einstein's theory of special relativity. Now, for my input on that is Einstein's theory was not 100% correct. Only about 80% of it. And they shoehorned in the other 20% with maths containing flaws. The article goes on, physics currently lacks a full theoretical model for understanding zero-point energy, in particular the discrepancy between theorized and observed vacuum energy is a source of major contention. And the physicists Richard Feynman and John Wheeler calculated the zero-point radiation of the vacuum to be an order of magnitude greater than nuclear energy. Indeed. And with a single light bulb containing enough energy to boil all the world's oceans. Condensed matter. And yet, according to Einstein's theory of general relativity, any such energy would gravitate, and the experimental evidence from both the expansion of the universe, dark energy, and the Casimir effect shows any such energy to be exceptionally weak. And a popular proposal that attempts to address this issue is to say that the Fermion field has a negative zero-point energy, while the boson field has positive zero-point energy, and thus these energies somehow cancel each other out. And they said this idea would be true if supersymmetry were an exact symmetry of nature. However, the collider at CERN has found no evidence to support supersymmetry. They found no evidence to produce their skullduggery either. Ain't that right? August 2014. Bye. Moreover, it is known that if supersymmetry is valid at all, it is at most a broken symmetry and only true at very high energies, and no one has been able to show a theory where zero-point cancellations occur in the low-energy universe we observe today. And this discrepancy is known as the cosmological constant problem, and it's one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in physics. And many physicists believe that the vacuum holds the key to a full understanding of nature. Now, where scientists go wrong, in my opinion, is they don't take into account the varying primary matters that make up so-called space. All 7 need to be in place for organic life. Missing the G factor introduces inorganic life. So in space and the universe, there is no constant. Dark matter, the vibratory essence of all that exists, is no longer on its elusive hide-and-seek trip it has been found, according to the report. Now, from what I know, dark matter is only dark because of the absence of light. And it just means that the 7 primary matters are not conducive to or prevalent to those regions of space. And they said with the introduction of vortex-based mathematics, you'll be able to see how energy is expressing itself mathematically. This math has no anomalies and shows the dimensional shape and function of the universe as being a toroid or donut-shaped black hole. Now, my understanding on that is they have yet to understand the white hole aspect. A black hole is a gap in the universal membrane that allows matter to flow through its singularity into a white hole in the next universe. So observers within that universe will see an explosion of light, and their scientists would call it the Big Bang. Except it's not a Big Bang. It's just a flow of matter that contains much light within its field. And my theory is those stars or systems have advanced enough on a higher vibration to join a universe that operates within a higher vibratory field. The black hole is a membrane into another universe, like a portal. They go on. This is a template for the universe, and it is all within our base 10 decimal system. And it says you have entered a place where numbers are real and alive, not merely symbols for other things. You will discover that the relationships between numbers are not random or man-made, but that numbers are actually elementary particles of which everything is composed. This lost knowledge was well known to our ancients and is now being uncovered for us today. And gradually you will come to see numbers in a simple yet profoundly perfect three-dimensional matrix grid pattern, I don't think so, that forms the shape of a torus. The number grid reveals the calibration, please post picture 5, and a timing for an engine that can take us throughout the universe and solve mankind's energy needs. The reality is, before we go into a music break, is 10 was introduced here, perhaps to distort our learning and knowledge of the power of 9. We'll be back shortly. Right, on we go with a bit more. And the report says you want to find the answers to the unknown, you want to see a man-made black hole. Using a new math that shows numbers are not man-made symbols, but are actually real, you will see and understand answers to these questions. You will learn about a particle that does not bend, but causes everything in the universe to curve around it, just like light travelling from star to star. It is a lens effect, which then supports the toroidal field theory of the universe. Now, the 3 toroidal number patterns that are the basis to all mathematics, the pattern of numbers traversing the toroidal surface in, out, and around, and the universe as an ecological system of renewal, your body being made out of countless stars of the past, and proof of an omniscient supreme being. You'll learn how to making a coil that produces unlimited free energy, a number grid that shows the underpinning of geometry of the universe, how everything is a torus, making a propulsion source that can take you anywhere in the universe. Artificial intelligence based on a binary triplet. Don't think so. The etheric template in DNA that guides evolution. The repeating number pattern that solves pi and demonstrates it to be a whole number. A mathematics in which numbers do not move, but the functions move instead. How numbers form a 3D solid geometric object. The secret of a gyroscope, why it vertically lifts itself upright. wormholes, nested vertices, portals and doorways. Why dimensions are a result of how things move through space. The preferred frame of reference to the universe is based upon the fixed constant number 9. Number crunching and encryption compression done through cross addition. The labyrinth maze of the doubling circuits where they invert in the center. World boundary conditions and inversion seams of nested vortices. The bilateral symmetry of the decimal system resulting in polar number pairs having parity by being perfect mirrors of one another. The 0 is always in the center in the form of the vortex hole. Multiplication series are unbroken rings from cross sections of the torus. A number cannot be created or destroyed, and 0 does not exist on a number line or in any multiplication series. The number 9 is the node and represents spirit. The number 9 is the node and represents spirit. And they say that numbers 3 and 6 represent the yin and yang in the form of magnetism, and the number 9 is the S curve. The base 10 numerical counting system is triangulated. Infinity has an epicenter. The powers of 10 occur by halving. The torus skin model's harmonic cascadence. Our base 10 decimal system is not man-made, rather it is created by this flow of energy. Please post picture 6. Amazingly, after 20 years of working with this symbol and collaborating with engineers and scientists, Marco discovered that the 124875 was a doubling circuit for a very efficient electrical coil. See picture 6. Now, my issue with the torus is the concept of it is a ring which is closed and only open with expansion and addition of a vortex field within it called a horn torus. And maybe this is where science fails on universal matter and principles. A ring is a closed system. A planet is a closed system unless it has a vortex, as above, so below, at each pole. It's sterile. A circular galaxy is a closed system. A spiral galaxy will look like the figure 9 or 6, depending on your orientation, is an open and expansive galaxy. Now, what I do know is the torus, or the donut shape, is perfect for intergalactic travel, as the spinning wheel compensates the loss of gravity, and because it is a closed system. Now, the report says there is still one more very important number pattern to be realized. On the mathematical fingerprint of God, notice how the 3, 9 and 6 is in red and does not connect at the base. I think that was figure 1 or 2. That is because it's a vector. The 124875 is the third dimension, while the oscillation between 3 and 6 demonstrates the fourth dimension, which is the higher dimensional magnetic field of an electrical coil. The veil. The 369 or 39 and 6 always occur together with the 9 as the control. In fact, the yin-yang is not a duality, but rather a trinary. And I agree, we covered that in an earlier show. And everything is based on thirds. And they said we think that the universe is based on dualities because we see the effects, not the cause. Please post picture 7. Physicists prove supporting rule of threes. In 1970, Vitaly Efimov, that is his name, oh dear. I wonder if that's the middle name of the trustee, Efimov. Was manipulating the equations of quantum mechanics in an attempt to calculate the behavior of sets of 3 particles, such as the protons and neutrons that populate atomic nuclei, when he discovered a law that pertained not only to nuclear ingredients but also, under the right conditions, to any trio of particles in nature. And he said, while most forces act between pairs, such as the north and south poles of a magnet or a planet and its sun, Efimov identified an effect that requires 3 components to spring into action. Yes, that is the triality we keep referring to in the show. Now, together the components form a state of matter similar to the Borromean rings, which is an ancient symbol of 3 interconnected circles in which no 2 are directly linked, unlike the infinity symbol or the Mobius loop, or the New Age trap, as I like to call it. And the so-called Efimov trimer could consist of a trio of protons, a atomic molecule, or any other set of 3 particles, as long as their properties were tuned to the right values. And in a surprising flourish, this hypothetical state of matter exhibited an unheard of feature, the ability to range in size from practically infinitesimal to infinite, going from the 2 to the 3. So why does that happen? Well, in my opinion, it's by adding the 1. Because it allows for expansion and is now no longer an enclosed system. Now, Efimov had shown that when 3 particles come together, a special confluence of their forces creates the Borromean rings effect. Though 1 is not enough, the effects of 2 particles can conspire to bind a third. And they called it the nesting doll feature, like the Russian doll. Called discrete scale invariance arose from a symmetry in the equation describing the forces between the 3 particles. And if the particles satisfy the equation, then spaced a certain distance apart, then the same particles spaced 22.7 times farther apart were also a solution. And this number, called a scaling factor, emerged from the mathematics as inexplicably as pi, the ratio between a circle's circumference and its diameter. And he said it's like layers of an onion. You see molecules at one layer, Hewlett said. Peel the layer away and you will see that there's a molecule there 22.7 times smaller. Every time you peel away a layer, you find another molecule. And Efimov's trimers are states of matter that theoretically come in an infinite range of sizes. and experimentalists recently observed consecutive tremors verifying the strange theory. Please post picture 8. The Borromean rings. Now, in mathematics, the Borromean rings consist of 3 topological circles which are linked and form a Brownian link. For example, removing any ring results in 2 unlinked rings. Remember the show 2 worlds into 3? In other words, no 2 of the 3 rings are linked with each other as a Hopf link, H-O-P-F. But nonetheless, all 3 are linked, as you'll see in picture 8. And the mystery of the Christian Trinity is expressed in the Athanasian Creed, where it says we worship one God in Trinity, and Trinity in unity, neither confounding the persons nor dividing the substance. And trying to depict this triune nature without leaving oneself open to attacks of polytheism was problematic, they say, and geometrical symbols became popular. Well, there's a simple solution to this. It's fairly simple. Stop adding religion and God into science or mathematics, and things get a whole heap simpler. They go on. The equilateral triangle consisting of 3 equal parts equally joined was used in an early symbol of the Trinity, and it was often inscribed in a circle, a symbol used to stand for God for many centuries. Now, for the Greeks, the circle symbolized perfection. Its never-ending form also encapsulates the idea of eternity. Yes, in a loop. But it's not eternity, as in infinite, though, is it? That's the great question. As an eternity in a closed-loop system, you keep going round and round like a hamster. Where is the growth and expansion in that? There isn't any. And this is what the scientists miss, the key component. They keep adding religion into it. Today, they say the Borromean rings are commonly used as the symbol of the Trinity, and the earliest source for this that we are aware of was a 13th century manuscript in the municipal library at Chartres. It contained 4 diagrams, one of which is shown above. Please post 9. In the center, inside all the circles, is the word unitas, which means the state of oneness and singular. Where are the other 2 components, is my question. Now, the 3 syllables of Trinitas are distributed in the outer sectors. Now, unfortunately, again, it's that you've gone from magic building syndrome to magic fire syndrome. The manuscript to that was destroyed in a fire in 1944. It's funny that, isn't it? When it describes the 3 or something important, it always ends up in a fire. Why would that happen? because, like the person who wrote this script, they are obsessed with the one God aspect. Throw in the fake religious-based trinity of Father, Son and Holy Ghost, which when thinking properly on that concept is, quite frankly, ridiculous. Where is the mother? And what has the holy ghoul or jinn got to do with God? Figure 10. Picture 10, please. The copy shown here was reproduced in a manual of Christian iconography, Dedron, along with descriptions of the other three. The labels on these other figures are shown below. They are, on picture 10, God is life, surrounded by Father, Son and Holy Spirit, which is the Hebrew Anunnaki and Catholic Church versions. God is surrounded by Word, Light and Life. My version, no, source is the Word, Light and Life. The phrases Trinitas Unitate, 3 in 1, and Unitas Trinitate, 1 in 3, is distributed over the diagram. To end this piece, that is the real version of the one-on-one with the One, which has got nothing to do with their God or religion. That was just a dream, a bad one, not like a nightmare. Religion, sorry. All the evidence points that way. It's distorted science, life and everything else. All to cover up the knowledge that we're not alone in any universe, never mind just this. And the gods, whether it be Norse, Greek, Roman, Egyptian, all play the role in it. Now, final piece tonight, the incessant desire for technology has been a relentless push into our reality and lives over the past 3 to 4 decades. And we can ponder on and reveal the dangers of it, and I have finally got through to many of you of that with shows in the past few years. The evidence of spying, invading people's privacy and gaining control over all aspects of our lives has been covered extensively now. And we've also delved into the world and dangers of video or computer games, because that is of a more individualized form of mind control. It changes people's behavior, their demeanor, their outlook on life and their relationships with others in a real impactful way, and often in aggression. Why does it do that? Because it's playing on the subconscious mind. The dark within each of us to come out and play in this sterile environment of the computer game world. Live out your fantasies, shooting people, running people over in cars, blowing people and buildings up, mass destruction, are all versions of dancing with the dark within us all. We have all had those thoughts of destroying buildings or people at some point. Well, those games can be cathartic for those who cannot control those feelings. But all too often that leads to becoming a reality land interaction, as the boundaries between light and dark, good and evil, virtual reality and real people becomes inherently distorted to some individuals. These are your individuals who end up going on gun rampages due to the games. They no longer know what is real and what is the false reality. Virtual reality and virtual intelligence have been around for a very long time and has been used against us before. Anu, Marduk, Queen El, and the Red Queen all used it to communicate from off-world. And it's like a video link or Skype across the galaxy. Now, the virtual intelligence is a recording of the original person uploaded into a computer to give the appearance of being real when it's not. And certain sightings by you-know-who of the Red Queen and Queen El are due to this technology. They are not the real people or beings, no matter how much you convince yourself of that reality. As the technology gets better and the holographic illusion becomes distorted into reality, this is when the boundaries between what is real and what is augmented reality becomes very distorted. And here is their version or description of augmented reality, which we covered in a recent show. Augmented reality is an interactive experience of a real-world environment where the objects that reside in the real world are enhanced by computer-generated perceptual information, sometimes across multiple sensory modalities including visual, auditory, haptic, somatosensory and olfactory. AR can be defined as a system that incorporates these three basic features: a combination of real and virtual worlds, real-time interaction, and accurate 3D registration of virtual and real objects. The overlaid sensory information can be constructive, for example, additive to the natural environment, or destructive, masking of the natural environment. And this experience is seamlessly interwoven with the physical world such that it is perceived as an immersive aspect of the real environment. In this way, augmented reality alters one's ongoing perception of a real-world environment, whereas virtual reality completely replaces the user's real-world environment with a simulated one. Augmented reality is related to two largely synonymous terms: mixed reality and computer-mediated reality. And their description is exactly how I have described it. They covered it in the movie Avatar, where the soldier's perception of the real world and the avatar became very distorted and difficult to choose which reality, or in essence which timeline to choose, because if you change reality, you are changing the timeline. Now, the machines, once they are built with AI capabilities, can come to understand their dynamics and then can replicate their programs into a hive mind mentality, and this has been shown in many movies. People ask for replicators. Have you considered the machines are or can become the replicator? What if the replicator turns on us? Because like military generals, they have no feelings, devoid of love, compassion, or consequences of actions. In reality, your military generals are avatar robots. They couldn't care less about the consequences. What they call it as just collateral damage. Like the bombing of the whole of Iraq and killing over 1 million people just to get Saddam Hussein is an example of this non-thinking, non-caring avatar bot. And this is another example of the two worlds, organic or inorganic, real or false reality, truth or lies, old or new, are all examples of that pattern and those realities. Do you choose an organic world filled with beauty, caring and sharing, genuine advancement of the species all done in an adult way, whilst exhibiting personal responsibility in a world of eventually no religion and no false gods? Or do you choose their world of offering, a distortion of the organic world, operating in a techno-inorganic world where they look after you like parents, as the people in that world are still children despite their age? And yes, they will label it as looking after you, but to those in the organic world, that is controlling them. But that was their choice based on their own failures to develop into an adult thinking species. It's all laid out for them. Those that can't face truth and reality will join the virtual reality world. And what essentially it is doing is to provide another city of light pill, another sleeping pod, which could well be the medbed. Remember, the Rand family built Dulce and Area 51, so they are connected to the off-world issue, and also the rogue off-world who are hell-bent on using us as batteries and worse. Their virtual reality world is a non-living world of illusion for the bots. And just maybe their dabble in the organic world is about to come to an end. Their virtual reality world is a non-living world of illusion for the bots, and just maybe their dabble in the organic world is about to come to an end. This week marks the anniversary of the Aztec crash. Just 30 minutes from here. A pivotal moment in our history, and the transcripts and proof of that event were revealed in our 3-part series, The Events That Changed the World. The EBE left us with a few gems. Here is one of them. Just try to accept we are in paradise when we are seeing and understanding something new. Our God should be change. Our religion should be understanding, and searching for truth is our greatest social challenge and purpose. And I agree. And as we develop as a species, the fear program of religion will fade away, as the EBE informed us all. We are not there yet. But we here at THI are making giant strides. As we gaze at the stars and wonder, and also ponder the myriad of questions it brings up, remember we are the stargazers, because from the stars is where we all came from.